Welcome back to Hermitcraft. All right. Well, I tell you what, just looking over the fort here, and I gotta say that this thing is looking pretty decent, all things considered. I mean, I've never been a mega builder. I don't think I ever will, but this is about as close to such a thing as I have ever imagined coming. Yeah. And it looks good. I like it. It looks pretty doggone good. It's I don't know. There's probably other touches that one could do. Like, for example, if one could put up mossy mossy cobblestone stairs up there, that would be great. You know, but that is not a thing as of yet. I've heard that there are rumors that it might actually get to be a thing someday now, with recent changes and upcoming updates. We'll see, won't we? But yeah, the thing's looking pretty decent. I'll admit that blue roofed house over there still looks kind of goofy and so on, but I'm going to leave it there as a tribute to, well, I tried and I failed. Okay? I'll admit it. I failed. Yeah, but on the other hand, there's a lot of things here that look. I like the bit with the well. That's a nice little park-like thing, sort of bit, and I like that. It maybe could stand to have some leaf blocks around and maybe some floral touch and whatnot in the way of some kind of garden-like situation and so on. But on the other hand, this one turned out a whole lot better. I'm really proud of this one. Honestly, it turned out very nice. And there's not really a whole lot of anything in it. It's very minimalistic, which is what I wanted. I didn't want a big major deal here. And it works. It looks good. And over here, this is some trees and grass and flowers and whatnot that was here from the very start. I never got around to cutting them down. I did kind of mow through that tree a little bit, but I'm going to leave it. Yeah, and this bit with the portcullis and the water coming in and the pier on here, I like this. That works, especially surrounded by the reeds. That looks great. I like my tree-lined street going down the middle here and so on. One of the few things that I'm not super totally absolutely thrilled about is the way this bit down here with the boats turned out. Not the tunnel. The tunnel is great. I like that. But this part here, it looks just a little bit flaky, and I know some have said that I could, like, if the stairs were turned around facing the opposite way, then you wouldn't have this little goofy bit there, and it would look like stairs coming up to it and so on. Yeah, possibly, but that's not the main thing that's wrong with this. The main thing that's wrong with this is, well, the tower isn't wide enough. It isn't. And if it were, I guarantee you that the inside of that thing could be made to look a whole lot better. And as a matter of fact, I think I can, yes, actually I can. I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So now, Sherman, set the Wayback Machine to 2011, January through May. Well, here we are. Looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, but not quite. In any event, yeah. This is a creative version of this world. So that I could, it's in creative mode so I can show. And here's what I mean about the tower. tower was not big enough to replicate anything even approaching this. It was not big enough in diameter, and that's why I couldn't manage this. But that's all right, because all things considered, I think, okay, let's see, get some better render distance here. Yeah, there we go. The construction on this, in this area, started with that cabin in January of 2011. And for its day, this was one heck of a build. It was. This was an awesome build back in its day in 2011. And it is the inspiration for the fort that I built on Hermitcraft. My idea was to recapture the spirit of it, using a little bit more modern stuff, not making absolutely everything out of cobblestone, for example, using stone brick, mossy stone brick, and yeah, there was some mossy cobblestone here, but back when this was done, the only place you could ever get mossy cobblestone was out of a spawner, and yeah, you couldn't make it, you couldn't craft it or anything like that, and that was the only place you'd ever find it. Yeah. So I came into this world about 1.5 years ago when I first had the idea for this, and I took some measurements of it, and the measurements for the fort, I pretty much doubled them. The length and width of mine are twice what this is, just simply because I knew I was going to have the room, and I didn't want to carbon copy this one. The houses were built by guests during a special event. They were not there originally during the original main build part of things. They were done as by guests as part of a special charity fundraising event, I believe. Yeah. So, this is what I've been trying to replicate the spirit of, if you will. And I think, all things considered, that I did a reasonably reasonable job of it. We'll see. Now, with all of this fresh in your minds from having just seen it, let us return to Hermitcraft. Well, there you go. So, like I said, I didn't want to exactly copy the original, because that wouldn't be very original of me, now would it? But I was very much inspired by it to try to do something in the same vein of it, the same overall vein. And why? Well, as a tribute to what was in its day in 2011 one of the more epic builds that I had ever seen at that point. You know, I know people do bigger and badder and more extensive and crazy things these days, but in 2011, January through May, Dogfort was one of the great builds of the time. I honestly, seriously believe that. At least that was always my opinion of it. I thought it was fantastic. And I really wanted to do something like that, that was inspired by it, but that took advantage of things like stone brick and birch stairs and other little bits and bobs and odds and ends, you know, like the mossy cobblestone wall that I used in the towers, you know, little bits and bobs like that. The path blocks, they didn't exist back then. And, you know, lots of little things like that that have come around in Minecraft since the original was built. You know, you'll never know just how far I stretched my mind to build the modern house thing. That stretched almost enough to break it. I'm telling you the truth, really, seriously. But I'm glad it turned out the way it did, and I'm glad I tried to do it, because it did turn out far better than I thought it was going to. The second one here, sort of okay, reasonably. The rest of them have varying degrees of yeah, I'll admit. And that one is still an abomination, but it's my abomination, so I'm going to leave it. Yeah. Probably the best part of this whole thing is either this right here, this whole southeast corner, or over there in the northwest corner, where the air traffic control tower is and the runway, with lights that work, by the way. I don't know if anybody hasn't seen them or not, but these lights on the runway, they work. And there's a switch up in the tower to turn them on, and they just ripple down the runway. I never finished the warehouse and the launch vehicle, the launch building and whatnot, but I'm not going to worry about it. This thing, really, I'm afraid of messing it up. If I try to do too much more to this fort, I'm going to screw it up. And I don't want to do that. And so, partly because of that, and partly because of other issues that I don't need to go into, I am going to call this my conclusionary episode of Season 5. It's been fun, and I've learned a lot about building, and found out that I could actually do some halfway reasonable looking stuff if I just apply myself to it. And so on. And so I say one more time this season, thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here. We'll see you in Season 6.